Long ago, when the pyramids were still young, Egyptian kings played a game of
pretending to be God.
But these
Pharaonic
games erupted into a war that threatened to destroy the entire
species
until a brave and powerful
worm man
locked the magic away, imprisoning it within the mystical
tablets that he wrote with his brain. Damn the Romans.
I did go, and I have
If
a bit
you
of a cold
displease
open.
me, I will destroy you. What's that?
I have a bit of a cold open. We got an email today from a fan.
Oh my God! Was it Brian Herbert?
No.
He keeps telling me to mention his father's package that he sent me last year. Definitely for real. That wasn't a skit. What's going on with this fan? Oh yeah, by the way, I'm Nate, the God Emperor of Wob, and this is the 5th or 6th Ben that I've gone through today. Yeah, what's this thing about this fan, Ben? And
So
it better
it
be
was
good, or I'll crush you to death.
It was my favorite email I've ever opened on the Words About Books email account. It wasn't somebody looking to promote the podcast. It was actually my favorite subject line ever regarding vampire-werewolf conflict.
Okay.
I'm listening to The Twilight Show. Anyway, to answer the question of how did vampires and werewolves come to be natural enemies, the clear origin of this trope is the cinematic masterpiece, Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. In the thrilling conclusion of the film, Abbott and Costello flee Frankenstein through the halls of Dracula's castle. Meanwhile, the Wolfman, whom has entered into a loose alliance with our dashing heroes, engages Dracula in single combat, including a non-zero amount of flung potted plants. Dracula transforms into a bat to flee the Wolfman, whom, in hot pursuit, leaps off a balcony, seizing the fugitive rodent in his teeth, and both of them plunge into the sea. I have it on good authority that ever since this pivotal moment in the history of supernatural menaces, neither vampire nor werewolf have ever forgiven each other for their respective roles in this great conflict. I thoroughly enjoy the show. Keep up the good work. I'm not sure if you will listen to part 2 of God Emperor of Dune, Killhauer, but I loved that email.
How long till I can get another Ben?
That was in reference to our
4 months?
Midnight Sun episode.
That's because I kept killing my way through Bens. I can't get another one for 4 months. Okay, I guess I'll nothing. Yeah, I guess I'll tolerate.
Well,
I mean,
everybody knows there were no other Bens. That would be ridiculous.
Yeah, ridiculous. See how I joke. Anyway,
the
Ben.
Nate Laxu never could have gotten myself.
Nate Laxu.
The vile Nate Laxu.
You remember what happened last time, Ben? I know you don't.
No. I vaguely remember I was out of town, and I let you post the episode without my approval.
Nice.
So here's hoping I was treated with respect.
Yeah, I used your exact words against you.
Oh, good.
Okay. So what happened, Ben, is we went to On. And on the way to On, the evil Nate Laxu came up with a brilliant plan, right? Where we're all just going to change into Duncan and just, like, you can't stop us now. I think I said, like, so the Super Bowl's going on, and the defense just stops, and they rip off their jerseys, and they're all wearing the jersey of the quarterback of the offense underneath, and the offense just freezes up. And then they sack the quarterback all the way into the end zone for a safety, Ben. Right? That's actually the end of the book. Leto died by a bunch of fake Duncan Idahos.
Well, it kind of works. I mean, they do manage to shoot his bulletproof cart.
Yeah. I mean, he's got more carts.
It did buy them the assassination attempt they wanted. It's just in addition to having a dumb plan, they also brought the wrong tools for the second time. Like, everybody probably knew that the laser gun failed the first time, but they wanted to try it again. But that is because maybe this is a double bluff.
What's their real plan, Ben? And does it involve blowing up a building?
Several.
Do they get the God Emperor? I'm betting money on no.
No, he lives underground.
Yeah. Yeah, it didn't work out.
So,
They're failures.
So
we all know they're failures. But you know...
Oh, no, go on. I'm sorry.
Well, we have to move on to the new character. The important character, who we didn't mention in part 1.
The new
Wienery
ambassador. Was it you that made, like... I think my wife made this exact same joke.
Wienery.
That her name sounds like Wienery.
So, yeah, but with
Her
that
name
fun
is
H sound.
HWI space NOREE. Hui Nori. Or Hui Nori, if you're feeling a little... Or Wienery. Which... I do have to give you. He's not good with names, Frank. He's just not a names guy.
He really isn't.
I think I mentioned this on every Dune, but somebody thought it would be a good idea when they were promoting Dune to send Tolkien a copy to see if he wanted to give like a jacket quote. I think Tolkien read it and he
was offended.
wrote a letter. He wrote a letter back saying the kindest thing he could do for Frank Herbert was to say nothing. Would they like him to return the book?
No, just keep it. I'll send you every single copy.
I wonder if he did. I don't think Tolkien lived much longer. What a bad decision to go to like a master of language and naming and history and present him with Gurney Halleck in Duncan, Idaho. Nice.
Don't forget through fear what?
Celebrimbor wept.
Well, I mean, in Frank Herbert's defense, I can't believe I'm saying this, he didn't have any Norse myths to steal from.
Maybe he should have. I'm just throwing this out there. They have sex magic in Norse myth. I could make this happen. You want a Norse-inspired Dune?
Yes.
I can write that fan fiction.
No,
That's gonna get weird.
Just make a
You
new
can't-
book. I mean, if Hellhole
No.
exists, you can make another Dune.
Oh, this is the deep lore. This is the part 2 of Dune.
Yeah, this is the God Emperor of Dune treatment. I'm going to introduce a character, we're going to talk, and then 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 we're going to talk some more.
We're going to go off on
Wienery.
tangents that most people weren't there for.
What's Wienery's deal, Ben?
Damn, I was going to ask you.
She's an Ixian. She's
So
a girl. She's a
That's
female.
That's a
She's
big
got
part of it.
lady parts. She's got a
So I've
feminine manner. She's got a gentle girlishness to her.
I thought you were going to say vagina.
Jesus Christ, Ben.
I really thought you were just going to just lean the whole way into it. She's got a gentle vagina. Now, yes, Hui is a woman. Hold your applause. That's relevant. So we
How
find out
could
that
you have a woman, Ben? How could you have... You've already replaced all the military, and now here you are. You're replacing the other function.
Duncan, Idaho comes in and he's like, okay, you're telling me we've got an all-female military. I have to deal with that. But now we have to sleep with them? Disgusting.
I'm not going to be your breeding horse, but I will keep doing what I'm doing. Non-stop without protection.
Hui is the second attempt the Ixians have made at a human specifically designed to exploit the God Emperor's weakness. Their first
Gasp.
attempt was a man equally stupidly named Malky, Got Malk? It's
He does seem like a very wet person.
Malky. It's like one of those words like moist. It's just
So the Ixians are creating like people, and like the Talaxu are just sending wave after wave of Duncan Idaho shapeshifter with ineffectual weapons.
This is a joint project between the Ixians and the Tleilaxu.
And the Guild, Ben. They are there to be able to say that the God Emperor can't see you. And
the Ixians have created a technology for the God Emperor. He's the one that put this idea in their heads. They created, I don't know if you realize this, it's kind of like, they never say it directly, but the God Emperor's journals are stored in an Ixian device, a chamber, that is totally blocked to the universe. It's basically a pocket dimension.
Yeah, I didn't know
as
that.
A result,
it sounded like what they built was like a big engine or something.
It's kind of what it does. It does create like a little pocket universe. It is powered. It does do something, but like,
what if you're in the pocket universe and the power gets cut off?
Then they would sense you. You would just rejoin the universe.
Okay. You wouldn't just be trapped there forever.
Yeah, it's just like temporarily phasing you, like, I don't know, like 1 second out of time or something, so that you're just not connected to anything. And that shields you not from just any kind of conventional detection, but also from prescience. So the Guild navigators can't sense it. That's what the Guild was doing. They were there to test it. So if the Guild navigators couldn't see it, then presumably Leto couldn't see it. And the Tleilaxu were providing genetic modification information. And the Ixians were the ones that had gotten to know the God Emperor over generations of making shady shit for him. And they realized he had a weakness. And his weakness is his loneliness.
What a baby.
As much as he seems to be totally in control and totally self-sufficient and divine, he is, at the end of the day, a human who from the age of like 10 has never been able to even touch another human. His skin is literally not even his skin.
That's all I hear, Ben. Gosh.
So their first attempt was Malky, a friend. Somebody who could understand.
Was he a friend? I thought he was like an adversary of some kind.
He was, but that is what Leto wanted. Leto wants somebody who can challenge him. That's what he would. He wants. It's a and this is way too physical of an example, but it's like a Vegeta to his Goku.
Oh my god!
They're not fighting men. They're both old fat philosopher types, but. Like
is
that.
Is Malky fat?
He is at this point. He's like 1 million years old now. He's not in shape, I'll put it that way. So Malky would razz him, but the God Emperor liked it. The God Emperor knew that Malky was challenging him, and deep down, I think Malky genuinely liked the God Emperor. He had to. He was programmed to. They got on amazingly, and that is ultimately why the God Emperor sends him away, I think.
Yeah.
It's supposedly because Malky tried some shit, but at the end of the day, I think Leto realized that Malky was making him weak. And so he sent him away, sent him back to Ix.
Yeah, take that, Malky. And then he disappeared, Ben. He disappeared. I can't see him in my visions anymore, Ben. Could he be inside some sort of pocket dimension?
I'll give you a spoiler. They call them no rooms.
Yeah, but we don't know that yet. We don't know that yet. It's a little Dune humor for you, Ben.
That is about as close as it gets to Dune humor, yeah. so Malky. And even that Leto likes. Even that he can't see Malky. That is ultimately what Leto is trying to do here. He is trying to create people who can surprise him. And that's what he loves more than anything. So the Ixians, after Malky comes back. His mission kind of failed. But now you have the one human being who knows the God Emperor like a bro. This is the God Emperor's best friend. And he knows how to beat Leto. A best friend weakens Leto.
Boobs.
But you know what would cripple him? A lover. Not since his sister Ganima has Leto ever known a person who could truly empathize with him, truly sympathize with him. Because, like, Frank Herbert does have this, we talked about it a little bit. He has a kind of stereotypical gendered relationship. Like, he draws these differences between, like, men are masculine and tough and fighty, and women are caring and nurturing.
And that's why it's so weird that women are all up in our army, Ben. We gotta take the army back. We're men.
Why can't a woman just be more like a man, you know? Like,
yeah! We bench press things, we grow hair on our tits, we're men!
Okay. You're making him sound less appealing. Again, you know, it's just, I don't know why Duncan Idaho wants to be around him so much. That just doesn't sound fun.
Are you calling Duncan gay? Because he will flip his fucking shit out and throw a tantrum if you even imply that, Ben.
He'll really embarrass himself.
And he will.
His ass kicked by a 120-year-old man. Yeah. Yeah. So this time, the Ixians are going to send Leto his perfect woman. She's dark.
Oh, yeah.
She's beautiful.
Yeah.
She's smart. She can keep up with him.
Yeah. Oh.
And
okay, you're losing me, Ben.
You're losing me. I don't need her thinking thoughts. What are you doing? No. That'd make me feel inadequate.
I'm a man.
Oh man, I do the taxes. I do them poorly, but I do them.
Goddamn right.
Yeah, so they send Hui, and she is not only capable of empathizing with him, but she also kind of hates the Ixians. She resents the way they raised her. She doesn't like being a tool, and even that is kind of part of their plan. The Ixians want her to do whatever the God Emperor says, and there is a parallel, if I may suggest something so literary and douchey.
Oh my god.
Between Nayla, the Judas who was actually the most devout apostle, and Hui, both women are sent by their, respective creators, quote unquote, to obey the enemy, no matter what. And they both wind up leading to
flawlessly. Not for them.
What?
They die horrific deaths, but
that's
but
another
for their
parallel
masters,
between them. Is
perfect. 10 out of 10. Couldn't ask for a better assassin.
Yeah. So she is going to be able to do what no other human woman. I mean, we'll get to Syanok in a minute, but what most other human women can't do, which is love the God Emperor Leto II.
Yeah, it's really hard to love that guy.
Well, he is a giant, disgusting worm.
Who won't shut the fuck up, yeah.
Yeah, he is like the ultimate incel.
Before that was
like
even a thing.
Is it true that you only eat Hot Pockets?
Right down to the fact that if got him.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I want a content warning the next time you're going to do that. Thank you.
I'll put the unedited version on the Patreon, and I'm just gonna bleep out what I said, but get your reaction, Ben. That's what I'm gonna do.
Well, I suffered so they don't have to. The average listener. This Leto even realizes what's happening,
but he's powerless to stop it.
He needs it so much. He even contemplates, could I reverse what I've done to myself for the first time?
Yeah,
and many people have questioned him about this.
Get some of that ivermectin.
Yeah, you just splash a little ivermectin on the worm parts. You're gonna be Joe Rogan in no time. You're still gonna be bald. I can't do anything about that. But I mean, that's all that tea. That's all that high tea you got going on. The balder you are, the higher your tea.
There is a shop called High Tea here, but it just sells tea.
Oh, that's kind of the opposite of what I'm talking about. No one with the high tea I'm talking about can walk into a tea shop. But yeah, the God Emperor, he comes up with this whole plan of like, Hui shows up and she's just his ideal girl, and she even can feel sorrow at what he's going through, and she can even sense a bit of the golden path. She knows that there must be some good reason for him to be doing this. She can fix him.
Yeah, that's the best kind of woman. Not only does she recognize your flaws, but she then overlooks them. Nice.
Yeah, it is funny that he's a giant worm. I guess you could put that as the pull quote from me on the cover. It is funny that he's a giant worm.
Got him. Hey.
That's what I got from Words About Books.
You are on the golden path, my friend. And that involves being a giant worm. Okay? We didn't choose this path, that was you. So now you gotta live with it. You and your crybaby, no one can understand me, but now someone can, and I can't be with her. It's like, yeah, take that, dick.
So
maybe next time you won't be a giant worm. Maybe in Brian Herbert's Sandworms of Dune, Wheenery will come back from the dead.
You know there is a Sandworms of Dune.
I know there is, Ben. I know that's the final in the Dune saga, if you count the last two.
I don't. Duncan shows up. We shows up. Siona shows up. They disagree.
Hey, Siona
they kill him. The end.
Siona has a test that she has to take, Ben. She has a test. There's a test that she has to take. She has to be quizzed.
Before we do this.
There's an exam coming
Before we
up.
do this.
I have to
there
keep telling you about the
exam.
test. I'm foreshadowing the test, Ben. I have to keep telling you about the test, Ben. Also, there's a traitor in the Atreides. A few thousand years ago.
We have to do Syanok. So the God Emperor sends Hui away. We're going to do Syanok, and then we're going to do the Bene Gesserit. I don't remember which order they happened in the book. We're doing Syanok first.
Bene Gesserit were last, Ben.
The first shall be last. Yeah, he gives him... That's the other thing he keeps doing. He keeps making Bible references and then being like, the cool people will know what you mean. All the people who remember stuff will know what you mean. But the reader also knows. We're smart, too.
I did not know, Ben.
You did not know that the first shall be last and the last shall be first?
Yeah.
It's a Bible reference.
Yeah, I don't care, Ben. I'm not
Jesus
a fucking
said
nerd. That. Yeah. He said a lot of things, and we don't follow him anyway.
He said a lot of things.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what they were.
Did you know that a shout-out that's a title, not a name, Ben?
You keep talking about this. Yes, I did.
Yeah, but we haven't talked about it on air, so I had to put it in there. Anyway, go on.
I think we might have.
I don't think we did.
Syanok. Duncan keeps asking what Syanok is, because when they arrive in the city, all of the fish speakers are screaming Syanok, and they're all in a really good, horny mood. And
and I was the one who needed a content warning.
Frank is trying to be subtle here, but that's one of the things I admire about him. He's just not subtle. He for somebody who's so into humanity, he is a little like an alien when it comes to certain things. They're just thirsty for Syanok. What could it be?
I don't know, Ben. You should explain it to me. Hold on, let me just get comfortable.
So I'm going to explain it to you using an unrelated quote-unquote story about Charles Manson.
Okay. I guess we're going to be God Emperor of Dune. All right.
Charles Manson, among other techniques, would get all of his groupies together, mostly women, for orgiastic revels, let's say, and lectures on his from his wisdom. He'd get together and he'd tell them about Helter Skelter and the race wars and all that crap. And you'd think like, well, that can't be very convincing. But you know what makes it a little more convincing? Just a pinch of the old LSD.
Nice.
He would get all of his followers, and he's not the only cult leader to do this, get them all really tripping on hallucinogens. He would also partake, but he would take far less so that he could remain in control of the situation.
Yeah, he's not so in control now when he's being the
Pretty sure
sub.
he's dead.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's dead.
Really? When did he die?
I think he died a couple years ago. That
He
is
set
a little
his
bit
school
of an
on
allegory.
fire when he was 9.
Yeah,
Put him in jail and leave him there. Retroactively, Ben.
I think they did. I mean, he died in prison, but
Yeah.
anyway.
But first
Speaking
he
of people
killed
who
a bunch
died
of
in
people.
prison. Speaking of people who will die in prison, Leto the Second.
God Emperor of Dune.
Syanok is a festival to which only the fish speakers and a male guest of Leto's choosing, I guess, can attend.
Is it Duncan? It's Duncan.
It's Duncan. He wants to show them the power of Syanok. They
Sploosh.
take a communion at Syanok
Yeah, they do.
of a wafer, and the wafer contains spice. It is very much like the spice orgy of the old Fremen thing, except it's kind of hinted that maybe people don't know what they're taking, and they're just attributing this feeling of euphoria and ecstasy to his holy presence, which is
Oh.
entirely by his design. And he does this as a bonding ritual to bond the fish speakers, his all-female army, to him. It's a ritual that happens every 10 years as a changing of the guard. This is where new fish speakers are brought in, and old fish speakers can retire, or fish speakers who have children can retire. Fish speakers are, by the way, heavily encouraged to have children. That's another weird Frank Herbert thing. But they just go absolutely nuts for him. And Duncan is watching this packed hall of the fiercest fighters in the universe, staring in actual ecstatic adoration of a being they believe to truly be a god. And then Leto says, "And this is my good friend Duncan." And then they all give him the same sort of attention. He is like a prophet of this god.
Great wingman.
And Duncan, to his credit, this is where I think Duncan starts to turn against Leto.
Yeah, because he's like, oh, you said you didn't like this religion shit, but like, you're hamming it up. You like this.
You're clearly enjoying this.
Yeah.
And when Duncan gets that attention, he knows he could tell any one of these women, kill this person for me, and they would do it without a second thought. He could tell this woman, sleep with me. Gladly she would do it. And it's too much power. It is too much power for any person to have. And only someone who is no longer a person could be comfortable with this. And this is where, as we see Charles Manson, we may see Leto. That is kind of what Duncan is seeing. He is not seeing this God Emperor who sacrificed himself to ensure humanity's survival. He's seeing a being who is totally drunk with power. And though Leto truly believes himself that he is saving humanity, and he is, to be fair, his golden path does seem to work, but is this necessary?
Yes.
Is all of this
Yes.
absolutely necessary?
Yeah. I believe it was crap. What is it? The podcast on the left. The last podcast on
The
the
last
left.
podcast on the left. Yeah.
Who they were talking about Mormonism, and I think someone was like, yeah, eventually, like, you run out of ideas, and so you're just like, yeah, maybe you blow me. all necessary, Ben. He's running. He's been doing this for 3,500 years, and like, maybe you blow me.
I think he's been doing it for 3,500 years, and he's insane. I do think there is a part of him.
I think he's quite sane, Ben.
I think
you just don't understand him the way I understand him. That's why we're bros, and you're crushed to death repeatedly, over and over again.
He also makes a mistake here, Leto. Well, the first mistake is bringing Duncan. The second mistake
was it when he flogged that Talaxu?
No, that was kind of an indifferent thing.
Okay.
The second mistake is he tells all the fish speakers that they are his only brides. And they are first like, before him, of all people.
You're my only brides, and also Hui, who, by the way, were engaged. Bye.
Yeah, that's going to come back to bite him. And the first time I read this book, the first 3 Dunes prime you to trust the Atreides, which is, again, the role Duncan is fulfilling. Duncan is essentially...
It's hilarious, because I've never trusted the Atreides.
Well... Yeah, Paul was kind of scheming everybody. That's true. But you know
Paul,
that the Atreides...
You had Jessica, you had Leto. I'm all out of trust.
Yeah, that's fair. You were not suckered in. You were the cynical Nate. You were not suckered in by the appeal of the hero. I got really interested in the philosophical douchery, the prescience, the what if you could have all this knowledge of all your ancestors, just can you imagine knowing like having been there
well,
for
it ends in you
history?
Asking a bunch of people to blow you in a sex orgy, so answer the question for you.
Okay, well I would have gone with it ends in you being slowly dissolved in a pool of what has become acid to you.
Yeah.
But
that's,
you ended it with a sex orgy, which I don't think is going to discourage enough people from pursuing it.
Well, that's the thing, Ben. You gotta have the sex orgy before you have to escalate, right? You're like, okay, I have this sex orgy every year. It's been 3,500 years. Kind of bored now. I think let's do the acid thing.
That's Syanok. It's creepy. It's culty. It's a little dark. And for all
hot,
of the...
Ben. God, you make this sex orgy sound so depraved and awful. Jeez.
I was going to say, for all of Paul's faults, this wasn't one of them. Paul never got this weird.
Yeah,
Paul was always
he didn't have enough
devoted
time.
to Chani. Well, but Paul saw this future.
Yeah,
he knew he
and
could
then
do
he didn't
this, and he was like, "This is
anything
gross."
at all. That's a little Paul got his fucking eyes melted out humor for you.
Oh, I didn't even realize you were making an ableist joke. That's a little philosophy for you. On the second read, I saw Syanok as super dark. I saw this as Leto having gone way too far.
Wow, Ben. I saw this as Leto, all part of the plan. He's got to keep pushing the boundaries until someone kills him. It's all part of the plan, Ben. It got this Duncan to betray him. Well, partly that was the reason.
So, then there's the Bene Gesserit. Waiting patiently in their...
Thanks for telling me that the assassins were coming after they had already come and were defeated. It was really cool of you. As reward, I'm going to give you a little more spice, and I'm not going to upgrade your room. You still have to stay in the gross slum that I put you in. That's where you belong anyway. And
can I correct you?
No, you can't.
He does not up their spice. His reward is he will continue their spice allotment at present levels.
Right. Well, hey, guess what? Next time, if you want an increase in the spice, you gotta arrive before the assassins do. That's a little Leto tip for you.
Yeah, to be fair. But he does also allow them to ask him many personal questions.
Yes, it is ribbed. Yes, if you say, for her pleasure, I will crush you to death.
Can you tell me, Lord, where's your brain now?
Aha! My brain continues to grow fucking huge. See this? This skull right here? That's dissolving. That's not even really It's not even really a human skull anymore. It's going to be completely gone in another few hundred years. Because my brain's so massive.
Do you remember what happened to his brain?
I'm pretty sure that I said what happened to his brain, Ben. Here, hold on. Let me look it up for you. Most of the human skull has dissolved away. My brain grows enormous. Da-da-da-da-da. Severe limits to the growth of my cortex and its attendant nervous system. There you go. And I am the center of my brain.
His brain is becoming a series of ganglia throughout his body.
That's pretty fucking metal.
Is it?
Yeah.
So
I'm
then
gonna
the
start a
Bene
metal
Gesserit-
band called Ganglion.
There is a metal band called Shai Hulud.
Good. There's also one called Necrogoblicon, Ben. Talking about my huge brain. My sexy, gigantic brain.
This is where the Bene Gesserit ask him a question that I talked a little bit about on the last episode.
You may
They
ask.
If it pleases you, can I ask why don't you join with the Bene Gesserit? We could form a community. We're the only people in the universe who also have ancestral memories. We know what you're going through.
Gross. Why do I need you?
But that's not what he thinks.
Oh.
What he thinks instead is how much he would like that. But it can't happen.
Yeah, because I already said that the only wives I have are the fish speakers, and also we, but don't tell anyone else that just yet.
But like once again, his problem is the Bene Gesserit are so close. And he will eventually tell this to Hui. Of all the people in this universe, the Bene Gesserit are just so close to being what humanity needs, being the leaders humanity needs. They just aren't there yet. And if he gives in to them and accepts them as equals, as much as that would benefit him personally, he can't do it. It would throw off the golden path.
Yeah, I'm not going to join your group. I will take a hot bride who could challenge me intellectually. But not you guys. You guys can... You know what? Got a task for you, actually. Go get me a Malky.
Okay. We could get you a Malky, and what if he resists?
Get him. Get him. Bring him back here. If he resists, you take a comical club and you club him over the head, and then you put him in a bag and you drag him back here.
Deal. So rarely do we get to do the ninja part of our sex ninjaing. And then the Bene Gesserit are forced to leave a vial of spice essence that they brought to try to throw it at Leto and kill him. But then they realized that wasn't going to work, and he knew about it anyway, so...
Maybe
They
they
just
should try
call
the
that
laser
one
guns again. Like, I'm
They just
feeling
call
like
that
third
one a
time's the
tie.
charm.
Well, laser guns will be tried again. So,
Yeah. The trick was to not fire them directly at him.
So this time, let's go over the engagement of Wienery.
Vehicles drawn by six-legged animals which he guessed were horses.
They couldn't even make a Sleipnir reference. They had to go
He
with
just put a T in front of horses. It was like, that's good. Let's just move on. Oh, God.
I like to think it was a subtle reference to Thor, and through Thor to Sleipnir, the six-legged horse of Odin.
Ben, we already established he wasn't stealing from the Norse. Anyway, are we talking about Wienery?
Do you want to be Wienery?
That depends. What are we talking about as Wienery?
We're going to do the engagement.
Oh, God. Let's see. Where even are we? This is the shape of the Worm's Empire. Oh, that's weird.
I don't exactly remember how
Rape
the
is foreign to
conversation
women,
goes,
Duncan. You asked for a sex-rude behavioral difference. There's one. I don't know about that
Yeah,
one,
I wasn't
Frank.
going to touch that one. Yeah,
I don't know about that one, Frank.
He's got some outdated ideas. There's another part where he says people will grow out of homosexuality if you let it go.
Yeah.
It's not. It's not all good. It's not all good. He's on a track that is trending in the right direction, but he's not quite to the station yet. You know, Dune's one weakness is the gender and sexuality stuff. I mean, there's more than one weakness. It's also the
So
names.
let's see. He asks her if Malky ever discussed the practice of takoyaki, the delicious fried
Takoyaki. It is not called takoyaki. Malky has told you that I practice takoyaki. I fry a mean octopus.
It's close
But what
enough.
makes it takoyaki is my takoyaki sauce. Oh, Christ. So basically, he tells Hui, Ixion sent you. Do you know why they sent you? And she's like, she suspects that they sent her to, hurt him somehow. And he's like, but you could never hurt me. And you're also the perfect weapon against me. And he just waxes poetic about how amazing she is and how perfect she is for him and how he can never let anything happen to her. And she reveals that she doesn't even know her birthday. She doesn't have any friends or family. She's been totally isolated. All she has ever been able to do was her training. And she is described as just a gentle soul. She is empathy incarnate. Except for one thing, and we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
She just could never do anything to hurt him. And whenever she sees somebody in suffering...
There's nothing ever that she could do to hurt him.
There is no one person she could do to hurt him. And she is just... So this is the thing about Hui. For all the good stuff I think is in this book, Hui sucks.
What? She's a gentle, caring soul, and by God, that Duncan though, am I right? He's got a rather attractive figure. It's probably nothing.
Leto explains to her that he is a giant worm man. He has no sexual habits. He has no genitalia, which isn't to say he's absent a sex drive, which is deeply frustrating to him. He is the world's largest incel.
Look, you've had 3,500 years to have the Ixians come up with some sort of device to jerk you off, okay? This is on you.
As crude as that is, you're not wrong.
Yeah. That could have been there. This could have been a different book. His weakness could have been the jerk off machine.
Well, so he does delve into the thing that we joked about in the original Dune podcast. He is free to explore every sexual decadence that has ever existed in all of human history, from male and female sides.
His mom and his dad.
And his grandmother.
Yay. And Gurney.
And Gurney. I don't know if he can experience Gurney.
He can experience Gurney if he just goes into Jessica's memories. Like, oh yeah, come here, you weird balisette player.
But I don't know if he has Jessica's memory at the time she f***ed Gurney.
What? It's ancestral.
I think it cuts off after she contributed to his DNA.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Quick,
it is weird that he says he can experience...
Get the Talaxer to clone me a Gurney.
I still have a cloaca. Okay. So there's no sexual habits. As such, he understands that she may require a mate. She may require children. This may be something she doesn't want to give up. He's okay with that. He would like some say in who it is.
Yeah. Anyone except for Duncan, Idaho. Like...
That is pretty much it.
Line up everyone in like a police lineup, right? As long as you don't pick Duncan, Idaho out of that lineup, we're good. Literally anyone else. Like, one person you could sleep with and hurt me is going to be Duncan, Idaho. So, like, don't do that. Okay?
I want to ask you, in all seriousness, why do you think Duncan bothered him so much? I have some thoughts, but I wonder what yours are.
Because he's got all those memories. Number one, of people
Which
who knew
memories
Duncan.
specifically?
The Paul memories, the Leto memories, the Jessica memories.
That's kind of where I was going. Like, he has experienced attraction to Duncan, Idaho. Like, that's where this gets interestingly weird. And this is why I say Frank Herbert is on the cusp of some really interesting thoughts on sexuality and stuff here. Is Leto has experienced attraction to Duncan, jealousy of Duncan, and he has a personal relationship with Duncan going back 3,500 years.
Yeah, in the business, that's called a dual relationship. You never want to have both a personal and professional relationship with someone. It's bad form.
But I think ultimately, at the end of the day, he is jealous of Duncan.
Yeah.
And I cannot figure out...
Talked about how hot Duncan was.
Well, yeah, but it's not just that. Like, I know it hurts her. I know it hurts... I'm sorry, I know it hurts Leto that she would be attracted... That she can't be attracted to him. But he understands that. He's a fucking worm.
Yeah. Maybe, you know what? I'm going to make this Duncan into a worm.
Well, my thing is, but what is it about Duncan? I think deep down, it is that Duncan, of all these people, is the only one that Leto has no hand in creating. Yeah. I mean, yeah, he kind of does with the Tleilaxu Order, but as far as Duncan is concerned, Leto is just another Atreides. He's just some asshole. Duncan is the only person who can judge Leto. And if... Because he's kind of the most human person. If he judges that I have a tiny
pee-pee, I will crush him to death.
But Duncan is kind of the most human person in the room. And that is what I think Leto is most jealous of. He's so, like, when he sees Hui, and he knows he can't have her because he's not human anymore, he wonders if he can undo it. And of course he thinks, if I could undo it, even if I could, the reversal process would take at least as long as the metamorphosis process. It would take me another 3,500 years. Could I put her on ice? Could I have the Tleilaxu clone her? Like, he starts doing, like, just ridiculous shit because he's so desperate to have that human connection. And he knows that Duncan is the most human of all, and that's what he wants to be more than anything. And I think that's actually surprisingly deep for Frank Herbert.
My God, Ben, you're on to something.
Now, I respect my opponent. I think he's a good man. But quite frankly, I agree with everything he just said.
Am I?
I think you are. I would agree.
Wow.
Yeah.
You used to hate my douche philosophy stuff.
Yeah, Ben.
I think you've even come around on that. You have awakened.
It's called the Dune Agony, Ben.
It's not a douche philosophy corner anymore. We have the whole wall.
Oh, God.
It's the douche philosophy side.
I think corner sounds better.
Two corners make a wall. You're here with me now. So she agrees to marry him.
Yeah.
Because she
agrees to totally never sleep with Duncan, right? Right?
She doesn't say anything about that.
Right? You're not going to sleep with Duncan, though, right?
It's
the Star Wars meme, right?
I will definitely... I mean, you're just so, like, coarse and wormy, and you're really, like, everywhere. And he's so smooth. And a little homophobic. We're working on that.
All right, Mineo, I need you to get out a hose, and I need you, anytime anything starts happening, you need to spray them both down with water. Just keep them apart, Mineo.
Mineo's just like, I don't want to be involved in this. I was thinking about maybe... I'm 102 or whatever. I think I can withdraw my 401k without a penalty right now, right?
Absolutely not.
Like,
401k in this planet, this job, that's only withdrawn upon death.
Space Macron has raised the retirement age to 115.
Oh my god, did he raise the retirement age?
Yeah, that's why the French were rioting the whole time.
Oh, I don't pay attention to France.
This was a year ago.
Haven't paid attention to them for ever.
Yeah, you know, Macron, I mean, this is another good God Emperor aside. Like, Macron's, I think they're getting divorced now, but his wife was also his, like, high school teacher.
Oh, look at that. Their retirement age went from 62 to 64. You fucking babies.
No, I'm with the French on this one. I think we, as Americans, need to be quicker to riot. They're going to nickel and dime you. It's 64 this year. It's going to be 66 next year. Like, don't let them do that to you. Every time a politician does something you don't like, literally every time, riot. That's what I learned from God Emperor of Dune. You're one of these complacent sheeple.
Yeah.
Working in your field.
Yeah.
Pretty soon, Macron's going to come take away your Xbox.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah.
All right, let's light something on fire and throw it at someone else. What else are we talking about? Are we on to the test yet? Or,
We got to do one more thing. We got to do the attack on the embassy.
Oh, I was going to say we got to have Hui and Duncan hook up, and Hui's like,
well, that happens after the embassy.
We can never do this again, but, like, just for one night, I'm already naked, so let's go. I am a loving wife who fucks the one person that my husband does not want me to fuck. That is the depths of my empathy. I'm the most empathetic person on the planet, and, like, Duncan is so hot.
That's the thing, though. She has to sleep with Duncan. Gay. No, he's definitely not gay.
Definitely.
We know that. He's never had a gay thought in his life.
Yeah, he has to be very clear about that, like that one congressman.
I am not gay. I never have been gay.
Maybe I'll put that quote here, because fuck that guy.
Look, Duncan Idaho is so straight that he can have gay sex, and it's not gay.
Yeah.
Because he's not into it.
Yeah.
It's just something to do on the battlefield with your homies, which is why having an all-female army ruins it.
Yeah, that's true.
It ruins it.
There's not enough dicks out here on this battlefield.
Yeah, I don't want to be the only man in this sea of women. What am I supposed to do with that? And most of them want to get with me all the time. It's such a hassle.
There is a point where
if I could just be out in the sand with Gurney Halleck.
I would have been here sooner, my lord, but the escort that you assigned to me wanted to stop by an orgy first. It's like, poor Duncan. He just wants to he just wants to work for his Duke Leto.
I just want to be surrounded with buff men all the time. And we can talk about different whey proteins. And we can admire each other's physiques. And I can tell him, I got this little riblet situation going on by doing a lot of, extra little crunchies. I did some oblique exercises. And, it's like, yeah, bro, just shoot some HGH into my butt cheek. Yeah, it's not gay. It's just two bros.
Want to go mountain climbing?
Mountain climbing. Oh.
Yeah.
I don't have the upper body strength. I was reading that whole passage and Nayla's like, I am going to have an orgasm, which is a thing that people say. And
Frank Herbert said it.
Frank Herbert definitely talks how people, he knows how people talk. When people get really aroused, sometimes they say, I wonder if I might have an orgasm. But No. When they're describing that mountain climbing scene, I was like, I'm dead 6 times over. If the only way to save the world is for me to climb vertically for a mile,
Yep, we're
it's
done.
over.
Yeah, we're done.
I have had 2 shoulder surgeries. I'm 35. I mean, like, that's old to be mountain climbing, but young to have 2 shoulder surgeries, I think.
What are we doing? You said we were going to do something first before the trial.
Oh, no. So there's an attack on the embassy. So after Queenery agrees to marry the God Emperor, she goes back to her house. And she gives the Bene Gesserit some information. The Bene Gesserit are like, I'm sorry, you're marrying what now? And she's like, yeah, but you can't tell anybody. And the Bene Gesserit lady's like, okay, I guess I'll go die. And she gets on a spaceship and she goes to attack Malky and dies. But not before grievously wounding Malky. We'll get back to that. And then Hui is sleeping in her embassy when the Tleilaxu just start bombing it. And Leto hears about this, and he's like, he gets out his holographic map and he sees where they're attacking, and like Batman, he jumps into a tube, throws on his battle cart, drives across town, and starts beating up street-level thugs with his giant worm body, taking round after round of laser gun fire, some of which stings, and then it sprinkles a little bit and like with rain, and he's crippled with pain, and a bunch of people see it, but he's got to hide it, and he gets in his little bubble car and flies away, but not before a bunch of his fish speakers, just fresh from Syanok, saw him personally leap into battle, and his undulating and gyrating was
now we know that he will always save us. We don't have to think for ourselves. We don't have to like train or anything. He could just single-handedly save the day.
Literally in every book of Dune by Frank Herbert, there is some version of the quote, "Never let your people fall under a hero." Like, never let your people follow a hero. And that is what Leto has been trying to avoid. He is not a hero. He is trying to foster independence. He is the opposite of Superman. That fascist. He doesn't want to be Superman. Superman is bad. But now he's become Superman.
Superman's awesome. He gets all the lady that he wants. He gets.
Do you want to be ruled by a giant worm? Do you want to be ruled by a giant worm incel?
No, by a Superman.
Then you can't. Then you can't have Superman.
Why not?
Because Superman is Paul Muad'Dib.
Yeah, he did a great job.
But then Superman's kid's going to be a giant fat worm guy. They haven't gotten to that part in the comics yet, but that's what's going to happen.
I'd read that comic.
Maybe they'll get Brian Herbert to guest write a run of Superboy.
So what else are we doing, Ben? Are we doing the test?
Okay, you really want to do the test. Get to the test.
Yeah, well, I want to do the test because they keep talking about the test, Ben. There's a test. Siona's going to be tested in a way that she has never been tested before.
By the way, Siona got captured off screen like 4 chapters ago, and she's just been chilling at the Citadel this entire time.
Was she captured? I thought she came there willingly.
I don't know. I think Moneo just brings her in.
I'm pretty sure she was willingly brought in. It's not like she could say no.
That's true. So what's the test?
We're going to go out into the desert. The end.
Okay, easy enough.
You're going to put on your still suit. Hope you know how to do that.
Never seen one before.
And you'll figure it out probably. I don't know. And then we're gonna hang out.
I don't want to hang out with you.
Yeah, I know. I can already foresee, like, little blips. I sometimes you disappear from my prescience, which is kind of the point. But like, occasionally, I'll get just a scene of you just calling me a fat sack of shit, worm piece of shit, motherfucker, and you're throwing rocks at me. You know it doesn't
This
hurt
whole time,
me,
I'm
but
thinking you should really expand your vocabulary.
yeah, you
You
would.
shouldn't just say
Yeah.
fuck all the time.
Yeah, you called me a fruit booty. I don't even know what that is.
I'll have you know I lost my fruit booty when I first put on this sand trask. So what he does is he tells Sienna to get on his back,
Yeah.
and she rides him not in a sexy way out into the desert. And when he takes her out past the point where she can see the citadel, so he tells her to get off and we're going to walk through the desert. And he tells her, if you want to get out, there's one way out of the desert. You can walk.
Walking and walking and walking.
He will help her, but she will have to offer him something in return.
Yeah. I'll never work for you,
And-
though. You piece of fucking stupid worm.
Okay, well, you can die.
Oh. Well, how about no?
All I'm asking you to do is walk through the desert with me and figure out what it is you're going to be able to give me to make this worth my while. And as they walk, she keeps talking. She's kind of dumb and annoying.
Yeah,
And she does
is
not
kinda
seal the mouth flap on her still suit. And so she is losing precious moisture with every breath. And he keeps hinting to her that
You got kind
when
of
I was a kid, we made sure we covered our mouths when we ate. And she's like, yeah, I don't really care what happened when you were a kid.
Your lips look rather naked right now. You should perhaps cover them up.
You horny incel worm. I don't care. What are you talking about? I'm not your eye candy.
Okay. Ninjas look really cool when they cover their face up like a full
Everybody
face
knows
mask.
Everybody knows that. They're ninjas. Yeah. Yeah, I don't need you to tell me about ninjas, okay? What? You got some ninjas in the woods that are gonna kill me if I don't do what you say? You sick bastard. And then one day she tries to take a drink out of the catch tube, and there's no water in there anymore. And Leto's like, yeah, it's because your mouth flap was open.
She's like, why
And
didn't
she's
you
like,
tell
you
me
should have
sooner?"
said so.
Yeah.
She's like, am I going to die? He's like, oh, but this is not before he tells her to rest in his worm pouch. Gets really cold at night in the desert. Sleep in my worm pouch like a baby worm kangaroo.
That's how he got Mineo, you see.
Oh, snuggle in my worm pouch. She's like, am I going to die? And he's like, not gonna lie to you, probably. We're still like 2 days walk from any water source, except if you touch up on my face.
You want to
here.
jerk my face off.
Yeah, it is kind of weird.
It is very weird. It's like
He's a
you
gross
need to
worm
milk
man.
my flaps.
Yeah, you gotta like milk my flaps, and
It's like
and she's like, okay, okay, but you have to stop moaning.
no deal.
No deal.
This is the price you pay for not sealing your mouth flap.
He's like, I have a spice patch in my worm folds that will excrete, and I will not use a different verb, a liquid
You can't use a different verb. That's
that is like unto water, with one caveat / bonus of it is pure spice essence.
It's
the pure spice
post-coital piece.
What?
Sorry, Ben.
What are you talking about?
Continue. Well, we'll get to that. That'll be the next thing.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So
she's gonna get all spicy.
The spice essence, if you have forgotten, is the spice agony shit. This is the lethal dose shit that only someone who is ready to be a Reverend Mother or a Kwisatz Haderach can ingest without dying. You have to have like total control of the chemical processes in your body. You gotta ride the spice wave, and you gotta do it just right, or you're gonna die. And she must drink it in order to hydrate. And she trips balls in the desert.
Yeah, it's the best place to trip balls.
It is the best place to trip balls.
Drink worm juice. It'll quench you. Nothing's quenchier. It's the quenchiest. How did we get out here in the middle of the ocean?
She sees essentially what he's trying to do. She sees the golden path. She sees that he can't see her in his prescience. She understands that she is kind of what he has been looking for this whole time, a human being whose future cannot be predicted. And, most importantly, when she comes out of it, she understands him. But unlike Hui Nori, and unlike Mineo, and all those who have gone before,
she rejects him, Ben.
She agrees to lead the fish speakers, which is the job he's offering her. Yeah. But she is scheming against him now. She knows now that she can kill him. He can't predict her. She is the first human being who can really challenge him.
Siona
went into scheme mode.
Yeah.
Give me something, Nate.
Yeah. All right. You know what he's not going to see because he can't see it? What if lays guns a third time?
Oh, my God.
Fucking brilliant.
No.
Meanwhile,
Duncan is sleeping with Hui Nori.
Yes, in the post-coital piece is what the book said. I like that Duncan's like, this is around the time. After this is when he stomps into Mineo's quarters and is like, I just saw two ladies kissing. And Mineo's just like, I imagine he takes his glasses off, he looks at Duncan, and he's just like, look, my daughter is doing a test that she might die in. You're pissing off my boss and your boss by sleeping with his wife, and I literally do not give a shit about anything you have to say anymore. I am tired of having to be around you. Not just you, but like all the yous. Like the last time a you came in talking about ladies kissing, it was annoying then, Duncan. It's even more annoying now. How about
Mineo,
you just fuck off?
Look, Mineo, you're going to tell me where the God Emperor is, or I'm going to have to get rough with you.
Oh.
And then I swing at you.
Oh, and then I just like step out of the way and let you trip and fall to the floor like a
You
fucking
step out of the
idiot.
way, you trip him, and then you like throw him a little so that he falls face first, ass up on the linoleum floor. And Duncan stands up and he's like, when did you move?
His speed is incredible. I hardly see him moving.
What?
Duncan, like everyone can kick your ass here. I didn't want to say it because you got such a fragile little baby boy ego, but like, I knew children that were like 3 who could kick your ass now. I mean, like, not even like the weird children like Lita was, like with all the ancestral memories. It's just a normal 3-year-old, and they could kick your ass. So if you want to try to take me out, you should probably do it when I'm not looking, and like maybe intoxicated, and like all the lights are out or something. Like you can't just come right at me because it's not gonna fucking work. You dumb little baby boy.
Duncan stands up, dusts himself off, bottom lip quivers a little, and then he stomps down the hall. Runs all the way to his room, slams the door. And Mineo calls him back later. This is before the God Emperor gets back with Siona. He calls Hui and Duncan in, and he's like, "Guys, you got to stop the boning. He's gonna go nuts, and when he goes nuts, he's gonna go worm. He's gonna go super worm. You guys haven't seen super worm, okay? Well, Duncan, you have a couple of times, but you don't remember it for reasons.
For super worm related reasons.
Yeah. I tell you, your ribs and torso remember it, but yeah, that is like an off switch. Anyway, yeah, you gotta stop. And Duncan's like, "I will not," and Hui is like, "Okay."
What? But I thought we had a thing.
it's-
But I thought we
Nah,
had
not
a
really.
thing. Oh.
It was okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no,
okay.
I also didn't. I also didn't want. I also
I just
didn't want
kinda
to
wondered,
keep this
like,
going.
You put in that clip from Futurama of Leela and Amy going, "Oh, this is what women in the past had to deal with before genetic engineering." It's a rough day to be Duncan. He's not having a good weekend here. He's been emasculated, lost his girlfriend, and he's probably going to get fired.
And being fired for him is usually lethal.
Yeah. So
Getting a fatal case of the pink slips, buddy.
when he shows up, or when Siona shows up, she's leading the fish speakers, and she's a real asshole. She's
What
like,
else is new, Ben? What?
yeah, I mean, but she's like really obnoxious about it this time. She's like what's it, Emo Parker from Spider-Man 3?
Bully McGuire. Thank
Bully
you very
McGuire.
much.
Thank you. I knew you had a name for it. She's like Bully McGuire, that meme that the children have never heard of.
I'm gonna put some dirt in your eye.
That's the problem is the children, honestly. It's a great meme. That's on them.
The children just don't know which Spider-Man's good.
Yeah.
This Tom Holliday or whatever, I don't like him.
Yeah, and before that it was literally Garfield from the Sunday comics.
So, yeah, she's being a real jerk, especially to Nayla. She figured out that Nayla was, I want to say a double agent, but like the kind of double agent that's ordered to basically just be an agent. So
You're not wrong.
I feel like she's excessively hard on Nayla. It's not like... I guess Nayla was only hanging out with her because like her dad told her to. I mean, I guess that hurts a little, I guess. But, yeah. So they're gonna go... the God Emperor is getting married this weekend. And they're going to send Siona and Duncan away because they are the two most likely to screw it up.
Yeah, this is in The Simpsons where they're having all the employees in the basement guarding the bee.
Oh, you guys are pathetic. No wonder Smithers made me head bee guy.
Sorry, Lido, but Duncan and Siona can't be here for the wedding.
So they send Duncan and Siona off to the Museum Fremen village of Tabor. Not to be confused with Tabor.
I'm confused, alright. But don't worry,
know how
man.
you're
Duncan is at least manlier and stronger than these guys. Because when he challenges them, he's like, "Don't make me draw my knife." And Duncan's like, "Fucking do it. Let's go right now." And he's like, "Well, it's a ceremonial knife. It's not actually real."
I don't want to get it dirty. So these museum Fremen, they are Fremen in name only. They have the rituals memorized, but they're not the warrior survivalists that the actual Fremen were. And Duncan spent a lot of time with the Fremen. So Duncan can see right through these assholes. And Siona just hates them. And Duncan basically emasculates this Naib.
Yeah. Now you get to know how I felt.
Duncan's also just kind of like suicidal at this point. And
what else is new, Ben? Do you not remember Hate, who was like, well, guess I'll
committed
die.
Suicide. The Duncans do have a short rope. Anyway, this Fremen, he takes constructive criticism surprisingly well. And he wants Duncan to teach him. Like, look, the God Emperor is the one that makes us a joke. Okay? I don't even like that guy. Fuck him. You, man, you're cool. Dude, I want to be your Padawan. And Duncan is like, okay, first thing, that's not what we're calling this relationship. But I will take you on as my Fremprentice. And so, Duncan adopts the Fremen. And he and Siona are hanging out in the same hut. And Siona's got all these like journals from the God Emperor, right? And she's like, hey, Duncan, you ever think about how much of a dick the God Emperor is? And Duncan's like, all day, every day. All day, every day. Why? What do you got? Siona's like, what if we kill him? And Duncan's like, I'm all in. I don't need to hear any more.
No, this is the... Look, I don't like you and you don't like me, but why don't we kill him?
And so, the God Emperor, when he hears that Duncan and Siona have gone to Tabor, he decides, Mineo, I know you put in a lot of effort planning the wedding in the one city we have.
Oh, God. Oh, no. I planned all of it. Like, I'm your wedding planner. You can't do what I think you're about to do. Oh, my God. I've spent countless sleepless nights.
Mineo?
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Mineo, I am moving the wedding to Tabor.
No! I'm not going to get my deposit back. Take my planner, I just fucking throw it across the room like, all my work is for naught. You have any idea? I got jugglers. You have any idea how hard it is to get jugglers anymore? God, fuck!
Mineo, I know you're upset, but I think this is going to really piss off Duncan. I want Duncan
I'm in.
to watch
me.
I want Duncan to watch me marry this lady, and we're doing the kiss. Get her a raised platform. When they say you may now kiss the bride, I still have a tongue. I'm going full tongue.
And then she's going to sleep in your flaps, right? Your little
I'm going to look
pouch.
deep into Duncan's eyes. Because this isn't about... Weddings aren't about women. They're about men. They're about men competing with men. The way Duncan and I always have. Hui, put on your best dress. I want Duncan to be really attracted to you. I don't have any sexual habits, but I am petty as fuck. So they changed the location. And speaking of suicidal, Mineo is about ready to check out.
I was only hanging on as long as it took to get my daughter to take that position, and like, I'm done.
Oh, this is about as much attention as the book pays to it, by the way. But Malky survived the attack from the Reverend Mother.
Oh, yeah.
He came back to say hi to the God Emperor, and the God Emperor was like, Mineo, I can't even bring myself to kill them. Won't somebody rid me of this troublesome Malky?
Yeah,
and then Mineo karate chops him in the throat, and he dies.
Threw him off the tower.
And he threw him off the tower. Mineo really didn't like Malky, and Mineo really, I think, just wanted to karate chop someone in the throat. I think he'd been holding that in for a long time. Like, Mineo was very quick to murder a man with his bare hands and throw him off a building. And I sensed that. I sensed that rage. Anyway, that's about as important as it is to the story. So, the God Emperor will now promenade his way to Siege Tabor, because a walking population is easier to control, Nate. The first problem with civilizations is when they move beyond the draft animal. When my ancestor, everybody is Leto's ancestor, by the way, Henry Model T Ford invented the Model T, he changed civilization for the worst. That car got 25 miles an hour and 2 miles to the gallon of petroleum. Petroleum was like a kind of primitive spice that our ancestors used to inhale so that they could drive for many miles at a time. And Mineo is trying to slit his wrist with his plastic butter knife. It's just not working.
Yeah. I'm just over. Don't mind me. I'm just, I'm just thinking about the life that I wasted.
The God Emperor is going to promenade over a bridge to this cliff, and then he's going to majestically float down like a butterfly on his cart. It's a big old cliff. It's like a mile up. Siege Tabor, it's at the bottom of that cliff. And this is a walking civilization. There's no helicopter what's going to take you up this cliff. There's no ski lift. There's no nothing. There's not even a big old ladder. Nobody carved stairs into it. There's nothing. Except Duncan's bare hands, his taut, rippling physique, and his sexy buttocks. And he is going to, for an entire chapter, climb this mountain.
I wonder if I might have an orgasm just looking at Duncan climbing this cliff.
I'm going to read you the exact quote from Nayla, like, lest you think we're exaggerating. A bit of rock fell from where Idaho clutched at it. That had happened several times. Nayla watched the falling rock. It took a long time coming down, bounding and rebounding from the wall's face, demonstrating that the eye did not report truthfully when it said that the wall was sheer. He will succeed or he will not, Nayla thought. Whatever happens, it is God's will. She could feel her heart hammering, though. Idaho's venture was like sex, she thought. It was not passively erotic, but akin to rare magic in the way that it seized her. She had to keep reminding herself that Idaho was not for her. He is for Siona, if he survives. And if he failed, then Siona would try. Siona would succeed, or she would not. Nayla wondered, though, if she might experience an orgasm should Idaho reach the top. He was so close to it now. And then a couple paragraphs later, moving out to his left, he looked down and outward to the moving out to his left, he looked down and outward to another high wall at the far anchor of the ferry bridge. The road continued there, turning gently until it was a line running straight northward. There were two walls along the river there between them. The river glided in a man-made chasm, its moisture confined and channeled into a northward wind drift, while the water itself flowed southward. Idaho ignored the river then. It was there, and it would be there tomorrow. He fixed his attention on the bridge, letting his military training examine it. He nodded once to himself, before turning back the way he had come, lifting the light rope from his shoulders as he walked. It was only when she saw the rope come snaking down that Nayla had her orgasm.
God damn.
If he were good at writing, I think it would be offensive. But because it's so bad, it's just funny. Like, he literally, it comes out of nowhere when you're reading the book. It's literally just like, yo, you're just reading the book. And then all of a sudden, she wondered if she would experience an orgasm. You're like, what the fuck? Why would you wonder that? where did that come
I felt
from?
reading that.
I did not understand that was how you were watching it. I understood you were attracted to him. I didn't understand that you were attracted to rock climbing. Like, I'm gonna be real with you, Nayla. You're repressed. You need to, like, loosen up, man.
Oh, she'll loosen up here in a moment, Ben.
Tell me how it goes, Nathaniel.
Well, I'll do it in the way that we have treated the plot, or really you have treated the plot of God Emperor of Dune.
How is this my fault?
This is Frank Herbert's fault, but I'm gonna do this is the notes I found in the attic version. So the God Emperor and his entourage, they're coming over the bridge, and Siona's like, now! And Nayla's like, I'm sure he'll perform a miracle. It's okay. Zap! And she cuts the bridge down with her laser gun, and everyone falls down. First, Queenery falls, then Mineo falls, and as he's falling, he finally, like, gets it. He's like, oh my god, this is what life has always been. Plat! Dead. And then the God Emperor falls, and he hits the water, and water's poisonous, Ben, to worms. And he's part worm, part sand trout. So the sand trout are trying to split away from him to engulf the water source, and the worm part of him is dissolving. So it's like the most unimaginable pain possible. Then he washes ashore. I think they're like in a cave or something, I can't remember. And he's like dying. And Siona and Duncan...
He is dying at the speed of an anime character.
Yes.
Like, whenever a main character dies in an anime and they take literally 15 minutes to expand upon every thought they've ever needed to have, that's the God Emperor's death scene.
Yeah. He had one last thing to say. And Duncan is like, I can't believe that Queenery is dead. I would not have done this if I knew she was there. You son of a bitch.
In your head, did you read it as Queenery the whole time?
No.
I was going to say, because this is really... Her name really does sound like Wienery.
It does. And then
you're kind of ruining this moment for me.
And then Duncan is like, yoink my laser gun, you son of a bitch! And he just unloads the entire energy clip into her body, which is no longer there. Like, her body
You're talking about Nayla, right?
Yeah, her body is no longer a human body. It is just a bunch of gelatinous goo from all of the laser gunning. Then the God Emperor is like, they'll follow you, Duncan, but be kind. Be kind to Siona. I've bred in her what I've been hoping for. Prescience can't see her. Humankind is going to explode soon, Duncan. And Duncan's like, yes, I finally understand. And Siona's like, whatever, fuck you, Dad. Piece of shit.
Where's the spice? Where's the spice going?
Where's that spice, you garbage person? Where are the other drugs?
Swear to me!
Leto reveals, and I actually did laugh aloud at this both times I've read this book. Leto goes, I hid it in the last place anyone would ever think to look. Sietch Tabor, the most famous and holiest of places to the story of my entire family that there has ever been. It's actually probably the first place anyone should have checked, but it's right down there.
It would be
it's
like if you're looking for like a very special Quran or something, it's like, I hid it in Mecca. It's like, okay.
Yep.
Where's the piece of the true cross? It's in Jerusalem. All right, yeah.
And he's like, I hid it in the last place anyone would think to look. Siege Tabor. Now, you might be able to argue, like, oh, maybe people have forgotten Siege Tabor. It's literally next to the village named Tabor. But that's Tabor with a U, not with a BR. Yeah, no. Yeah, you guys, I'm dying. Am I still alive? Oh, yeah, no, I'm still alive. Okay. Couple more things.
I kind of wish I wasn't still alive, honestly.
So a couple more things I want to tell you guys. So there is a very non-specific threat that I have been trying to prepare humanity for. It's going to come kill you in a few thousand years. Now, the most important thing you need to know...
Right?
No, it's not. It's actually a thing that was going to wipe you out because of the stagnation. The stagnation just left you vulnerable. There's another thing coming. I left the notes on a floppy disk, and it's in my attic, and one day my son will find it, and he will team up with the world's most unimpressive fiction writer. And they will finally write the end to what is one of the greatest sci-fi epics of all time. And it will be deeply unsatisfying. And that is my final revenge on you motherfuckers.
All right, you know what we need to do, Siona. We need to find every floppy disk drive left in the Empire and smash them. We need to ban the creation of floppy drives from now on.
But life finds a way. Finds a way in a partnership between two failed writers who just happened to luck into the publishing rights to a much more impressive relatives. Greatest work. So... that's the story of God, Emperor of Dune. I'm really sorry if you like the Brian Herbert books.
I'm not.
Let's do the rubric. The rubric will become our final thoughts.
All right. Rubric. blog.words.aboutabooks.ninja. And then...
you really shouldn't throw in extra syllables.
Fine, Ben. blog.wordsaboutbookninja. I fucking love your parody cover of God Emperor of Dune.
Oh, with the wiglet.
Is that what that is?
Yeah, that's one of the new Pokemon.
All right, Ben. Content and ideas.
Controversial choice, Nate.
Oh my god.
It's a 5. This is for me. You know what? I love it. It is arguably nothing but ideas.
Yeah, I'm reading the rubric. Exceptional, original, or interesting ideas are thoroughly developed in a way that has lasting impact on the reader. I think I also have to give it a 5 for that. I have to be objective.
It had a lasting impact.
Yeah. Yeah.
It definitely has a lasting impact. Look, they're not all good. I understand. In all seriousness, we've made a lot of jokes about the political stuff, the sexuality, the gender equality. I don't think Frank Herbert had an enlightened opinion on sexuality necessarily. And that's just to say, I don't think he understood anything from an LGBTQ perspective at all. Yeah, I don't think he knew a lot of people who were in non-traditional relationships. So he typically assumes straight, and he typically assumes that men and women will fall into, breeding pairs, and he basically treats human beings like they're animals.
Yeah, he really does.
You take that for what it's worth. He's a weird dude, and I understand that's not everybody's cup of tea, and that's going to be a deal breaker for a lot of people. But the political ideas I do find very interesting, and I do think in this book he indicates that he's open to, quote unquote non-traditional relationships and more complex understandings of gender. With the God Emperor, he is entirely non-binary or super gendered. I mean, he's both. So, and Frank Herbert wasn't afraid to play with that concept and think about what it might be like. And I'm sure he doesn't get anywhere close to a realistic experience of what an actual, person would experience, as Leto is a giant worm man. But I think it's interesting. and it had a lasting impact on this reader.
Okay. I agree.
Or-
What more do you want me to say, Ben? It's
I want you to give
exceptionally
me deep.
original and interesting ideas. It's fucking weird, but like that's what
want you to give
that's
me-
what I walked in on. That's what I knew was gonna happen. Maybe not so much
Alright.
the I wonder if I'll have an orgasm, she said in a robotic voice. I wonder if I will experience some sort of splooshing in my pantaloons. Beep boop.
I wonder if I
Oil
will
discharge
experience
in
the
progress.
orgasm. Anywho, organization. Radical shift for me as well. It's a 2.
I was gonna say, I think Frank is gonna have to lose points on organization, and I would
Yeah.
agree with a 2 as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So our criteria for a 2 is the organizational structure is present but ineffective. Narrative is confusing and hard to follow in a way that does not feel intentional. Pacing is either much too fast or much too slow.
You have to read
So-
it multiple times to even understand what the fuck is going on.
And while I think that may
all
be
over the place.
Well, I think some of that is intentional to some degree. I don't think it's effective. I think these ideas can be presented better. Like he's playing with the journals being discovered 1,000 years from this, the 3,500 year time skip. There's just so much jarring stuff, and I know the point of it is to jar the reader. He does want to confuse you. He does want to make you read it multiple times. And I think he succeeds in a lot of ways, but also...
It's called replayability. You wouldn't understand it.
Well, I was going to say, but also there's just, like, Malky. What the fuck was the whole Malky subplot? Malky feels like I missed a book.
It really does, because he's referencing a guy like, I knew Malky, and did he ever tell you this and this? I'm like, who the fuck is Malky? And he shows up and gets thrown off a tower after getting karate chopped in the throat. It's like, okay.
It feels
well.
like there was a short story or a novella, and there was not, that featured Malky, and we were supposed to have read that before this. And
There you go, Brian. There's your next idea. Malky of Dune.
I'm surprised you haven't done it already. And
the Malky
there's a
Dune.
few. Nayla is a character in general, just kind of sucks. Like,
what, you didn't like
the
Brock
Judas-
Lesnar?
The Judas allegory is so ham-fisted that he has to come out and just say it at the end. Like, I feel like that was a choice in editing where somebody was like, if you don't point out that this is a Judas thing, nobody's going to get it.
If it helps Ben, I
And-
wouldn't have gotten it.
Yeah, no, I there's good reason for that. It's not clear.
I'm here for Dune. I'm not here for Judeo-Christian Bible.
I think at the time he was writing it, especially, that
people actually care about the Catholic Church.
Well, I was going to say him,
like when the Catholic
having...
Church didn't take political stances, which, by the way, that maybe we should tax them if they're going to get involved in politics. I'm just spitballing here. It's real funny, but like, fuck you guys, give us your money.
What I was going to say is, I know you don't care about any of this, and most of the people listening to this episode don't care about any of this, but we live in a post-Gospel of Judas world where it's, and like Jesus Christ Superstar even, like it's not unheard of for us to consider a sympathetic Judas. Whereas in 1981, I don't know when Jesus Christ Superstar came out, it might have come out before 1981, but him writing a Judas who was told by the Messiah to betray him, that was kind of transgressive. I mean, it wasn't a new idea, but I think it would have been extra shocking. And I think that was an idea he was obviously interested in, but again, not developed. And I know the 5 was... It means that the ideas must be thoroughly developed. That's why it loses so much on organization, because it's just like, you could have just written this better. I'm sorry. Like, your ideas are great. They're not organized well. That's the only thing I can think to say.
It needed more Laza Tigers. That's where you lost me.
Use of language.
I could see my way to a 4. I would say he gives enough flavor to his various his various character. Well, some of them, I guess. Some of the characters, like you said, suck. But yeah, I could give it a 4.
I gave it a 4, and I want to, this is going to shock you. I want to explain that a little bit. So the criteria for a 4 is that the language is engaging, adds flavor to the characters in the world, and the language creates an atmosphere for the book. Previous Dune books, we have been kind of harsh on the language.
Because
he's gotten better.
Because he got better in the last book. It took him 2 whole books to get to acceptable.
But I would argue it's also pretty bad in this one. However, it works in this one because he is not trying to write relatable people. In this one, he is writing from the perspective of an utterly alien creature who considers itself the literal deity of humanity. And every human in the story has lived their entire life under this creature's oppressive thumb. And so the fact that they all sound like strange aliens studying the human animal fits. I don't know if it was intentional, but he might have lucked his way into a 4 on this one.
I think he lucked his way into a 4. I gave him a 4 because, yeah, the main character being a fucking weird alien worm who goes on very, very long monologues. It's like, oh, you definitely gave it a flavor. I mean, sometimes it's a flavor I like. Yeah, sometimes it's a flavor I like. Sometimes it's Baskin-Robbins bubblegum for Ben.
Fuck that flavor.
It's delicious, Ben.
That's disgusting.
Yeah.
What, is Momo going to come after me for this one too? Is this another one of your roast beef things?
No,
Why don't you all just go eat Arby's roast beef flavored ice cream?
I would.
You degenerates.
Just you.
See if you can get him to drizzle a little horsey sauce on it.
Oh, that sounds awesome. Anyway, personal preference. All right. Well, I know what yours is. You're going to go with a 5.
You're damn right. I'm going to go with a 5.
I'm going to go with a 4. I'm going to give it above.
Wow.
I'm going to give it above the. Give it above the 3. That's why I'm not going to be releasing the journal entries, because as I was recording them, I was like, huh. Ben made it seem like I was just going to like shit all over this nonstop, and then like it never happened, Ben.
You need to bury them somewhere on the internet. Like we did with that episode of House of Leaves. 4 people will find it. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you liked it. I really didn't think you would. I think this is pure Stockholm Syndrome.
Yeah, you thought the podcast was going to end because of this episode.
I really did. I really thought this was going to be like I do not think 2019 Nate.
It was a pre-pandemic world, Ben.
Book.
It was a pre-pandemic world.
You've changed. You've changed a lot.
I've undergone the Dune agony.
You have. I think you actually have. I am so happy with this. So that was a 5 for personal preference. Recommendation strength.
3. I guess if you got to Children of Dune, and then just go ahead and like, if Children of Dune didn't turn you off, just finish the fight, right? Do what Master Chief does, finish the fight, because it's gonna get weirder, and you just accept that, and you move on. Could have used more Laws of Tigers, though.
I went with a 2. We'll see. Maybe the movies will change this. Maybe different people. I hope they
make a movie of God Emperor.
Maybe different people are getting into Dune now. Maybe the world's just ready for it now. I don't know. But I have witnessed a lot of people hate this book after liking the first 3. And I think that for me is enough to say that if you know going in that this is boring, this is weird, sexually deviant in some places, like if you can accept all that, you'll like it. If you can't, I understand.
Oh, but there's another one or possibly two Dunes coming up, Ben.
Two more Dune years. What? I don't know. I don't
No,
even
I
wanna
mean
think
two
about
more
what we're gonna
this
do.
year, you motherfucker.
What? 2 more this year?
Yeah, Ben. You don't remember
What
what
are we
gift
doing
you
this
got
year?
me for Christmas, Ben?
Yeah, I do.
There also might be another movie coming out, so...
Oh, God, yeah. I don't think that's going to make it out in 2023.
Yeah, it might not because of the writer's strike. Alright, Ben. Shout us out.
All right. So if you want to find us on social media, check out all the links in the description. You can email us. That's in the description as well. But if you would like to support the show and maybe find yourself shouted out here if you contribute, frankly, too much money, that is patreon.com/WABpod. And the yacht tier patrons get one and only one extra bonus, and that is that I shout them out at the end of the show, which I will do right now. We have Shy with a Y on TikTok. We have Jamie of the If You Want the Gravy blog. We have Isekai Sensei Sama of the That Time I Got Reincarnated in the Same World as an Anime Podcaster podcast. We have John Bierce, actual author of the Mage Errant series and The Rack. He also has a Patreon that you can check out where you can see his short stories and vote on which story will be released next. And I believe last, but certainly not least, is Jamie Walker. Hi, Jamie. Do I play us out or do you play us out?
Well, we just climbed up the Dune Mountain. I wonder if my urethra will expel fluid.
It will!
The end.